Okay, I thought about how I was going to do this video throughout the day today. Obviously, it's not going to be the typical jovial nature that you get from this channel or anything. Hey folks, I'm Kellen Nitro, and welcome to Nitromaniac TV's Wrestling Unlimited, and this is kind of a first impressions slash opinions piece of the huge news that went down, yesterday by the time you take a look at this video. On April 15th, 2020, we got word on a bunch of cuts due to the coronavirus, by WWE, basically cutting, at last count, about 40 jobs off of their entire talent slash behind the scenes production staff. And it is quite the who's who of people that were cut, you know, in this. This is the largest round of cuts, first of all, that we have ever seen. This surpasses the July 2005 number of 20, which was the kind of the antithesis of the Black Saturday or Black Monday or Black Tuesday post-Mania cuts that would happen every year. It started basically in 2005, and every year it would rotate, with varying numbers. Some years there would be 10, some years there would be 5, stuff like that, going on, so on and so forth. And then for a few years over the 2000s, that kind of went away. That kind of went by the wayside as WWE had kind of stabilized and started to grow a little bit here. And this is the first real huge number of cuts we've seen in the wrestling industry due to the COVID-19 outbreak. Basically, the simple equation is this: there is none with this. There is a multitude of factors going into the cuts that are just, you can't attribute it to one thing. A lot of it is it's bad optics, because Vince McMahon just went through a deal where he got WWE essential media status about 48 hours before these cuts were announced. He'd just gone through producing a WrestleMania without any fans. However, on the other hand, he sat through a documentary on Vice less than 24 hours before these cuts were announced, on the Jimmy Snuka, Nancy Argentino wrongful death slash potential murder slash rumored industry bribe that happened back in 1983. And over the weekend, Vince decided to pack in the XFL, and basically it's up for sale right now to the highest bidder. All of the team's properties, all of everything is for sale. So if anybody has the money to buy it, they can buy it off of Vince McMahon. The news reports and everything are saying that the company is saving about $4 million by cutting all these positions in salary and that stuff. And the bulk of the cuts are in the talent pool. So the way it breaks down is 20 free wrestlers, 10 producers across all brands, 1 ref, which was Mike Chioda of all people, the senior referee from 1989 on with WWE, WWF. You see him in a lot of the Hulkamania era matches, a lot of the Attitude era matches as a ref, and then on and on, Ruthless Aggression, into the PG era, and so on and so forth. Like, this guy has been there and was WWE's longest tenured referee. Charles Robinson now takes that mantle, Little H, and he jumped in with WWE as part of the WCW merger in 2001. So, merger, buyout, you know what I mean. 1 writer, free PC trainers at the Performance Center, including Sarah Stock and Serena Deeb are involved in that as well. Both were amazing independent wrestling talents in their own right, and were teaching female talent, brand new female talent, how to work the WWE style in the ring. one announcer from the Spanish announce team, Jerry Soto, one interviewer, Josiah Williamson. You've seen him walking around Access and hosting a few things. If you've ever been to a WrestleMania Access and that stuff, you've seen the guy. I've not physically met the guy before, but I've seen him before work, and that's kind of one of the hype guys and that stuff that WWE uses at their live fan events and that stuff. His job acts. So in total, 40 jobs, $4 million saved. And quite frankly, it's just, it is a sign of the times, but it's a very scummy sign of the times. Wrestling isn't drawing fans right now because of the outbreak. They just had a WrestleMania inside of a empty performance center with no people. They just had a WrestleMania in front of a performance center with no people. And it's one of those things where it's a snowball effect. Mania is supposed to be your highest grossing card of the year. And as it stands right now, WWE went into this with a highly grossing Royal Rumble, a average grossing Elimination Chamber pay-per-view, a Saudi show that was bought and paid for, and that's it for live events attended by people in 2020, and then whatever they make off of the Raw and SmackDown and NXT live shows and television tapings and that stuff, which is, minuscule at best compared to a huge event like WrestleMania. The fact that WrestleMania was first canceled in Tampa and then, ran on pay-per-view, and I haven't had a chance to look at the pay-per-view numbers yet for WrestleMania this year or whatever. I don't think it did very well because, again, of the news cycle and just people at this point have bigger concerns than pro wrestling. It's a reflection of it. It's a thing where that company right now is desperately, I don't want to say desperately trying to hold on, but with the XFL's immediate season suspension and failure, and then the realization that, hey, Vince was actually putting 23.5% of WWE money into the XFL for the total, or taking 23, I think the number was 23.5% of the XFL's total income sustainability model to get it off the ground was from WWE and WWE shares and that stuff. When it was announced back in a press conference a couple of years ago, when he announced that he was bringing this thing back, that none of the WWE's funds would be used for this, and that he'd be using separate money. It's not looking very good on Vince at all. And the fact that he went and he promised, what was it, $14 to $18 million to Trump in the States for a bailout on this whole sports commissioners thing, where they were going to look into the feasibility studies of having people back in stadiums for live events and so on and so forth, and trying to get that process back up and running again. And then walking out and doing this. But the big thing that really irks me out of this is being named a essential media resource no less than 48 hours ago by the Florida governor and the county commissioner and that stuff in I think it's called Orange County, Orange County, Florida, I should say, where the PC is in Orlando, and going through all of that, and basically whether it was a bribe or whatever, it doesn't matter. They're on there. As a essential media service. So you think, okay, well, at least he's trying to cover his employees' rear ends through this, and then you announce 40 cuts, and you have, like I said, 23 wrestlers that are all world-class talents that have strived their entire career to get to that point, making a WWE paycheck, and now they are out of work. I think of a guy like Drake Maverick, who Rockstar Spud, who goes out on his Instagram and very tearfully, says that, the matches coming up in this cruiserweight tournament on NXT are his last WWE matches, and that he's going to give them, if he goes 3 rounds in this tournament, the top 3 matches of his career for the fans and that stuff, for everybody. That video got to me. Leo Rush's comments on Twitter got to me as well. Rusev on top of it, and it goes on and on and on. And these people will land on their feet. I've no doubt that some of these guys will end up in AEW. So you could pick and choose off of that list. No doubt some of these guys like EC3, Maverick may end up going back to Impact, so on and so forth. And the Good Brothers, Anderson and Gallows, have been through this before. Veterans of, Gallows has. Anderson, of course, this was his first stint with WWE. They'll end up going back to New Japan once New Japan reopens up. They're well instituted over there as part of the Bullet Club. So, that's those guys are lucky that they have, legacies and other promotions that they can fall back on. It'll be up to like the younger talent, like a Deonna Purrazzo that got released from this. Where does she end up? And so on and on and on. The waves of this is going to really, over the next few years, even after we get out of this COVID thing, I feel could change the trajectory of this industry quite a bit, because again, there's some young talent here that WWE today basically handed their walking papers, and such is business, such is life. That's how it goes. But that's just simply my opinion on a whole deal. So what's yours? I will say that Morehouse will be joining me on a special odds and sods cast regarding this entire matter that we're going to tape this weekend. So watch for it in your feeds early next week or so, and also subscribe to my Twitter at Kellen Nitro, and we are going to banty this about for kind of an extended look at it, an hour's look or half hour's look, however long it is, of this entire deal. But yeah, this is by far the largest one-day talent, I guess, bloodletting that we've seen ever from any wrestling promotion in history. Like I said, this beats the stuff that happened in 2005. This beats what WCW was doing basically in the late 90s, 99, 2000, when they were basically just going through guys left, right, and center on their roster, so on and so forth. So yeah, post your comments and thoughts below, and we'll get to them one at a time or in a large group. Depends on however we feel like doing it on the weekend. And make your voice be heard. Was this the right decision by WWE? That's my question to you. Was this the right decision by WWE for this? Especially after Vince going through basically the bad PR that the past 48, 72, 96 hours has basically bestowed upon him, and he's been given. The dude has survived bad PR before. Can he survive this? Alright, folks, later days, happy wrestling watching. We'll see you next time on Nitromaniac TV's Wrestling Unlimited.